Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. In our last episode, we started our first space station, and today we are going to launch its refueling module. Here it is, on the launch pad. Because I want to have a day launch, we do some time warping and start in our usual procedure. As you see, we launch at a mere 1/3 of our total thrust, because we don't really need the total many meganewtons of thrust which our rocket provides. We only need tiny fraction of it. And it still gets us to the appropriate altitude for the gravity turn. And we're continuing our ascent as usual. Everything seems to be perfectly fine. Our apoapsis is already at 50 kilometers, and we're starting to completely flatten out our trajectory to make sure that we are not overshooting by a big margin. So here's our circularization maneuver. Looks perfect, isn't it? And at this point, my system decided that I need sticky keys. And for some reason, because of it, our last fuel tank broke off, and we overshot our orbit to approximately 200 kilometers apoapsis. So now we have to fix it and drop down our apoapsis to approximately 80 kilometers. And it's not such a big deal after all. Now we have to fix our inclination, because our station is orbiting with slight inclination to the equator, which is also not such a big problem. And here we go. Tiny burn. And our inclination is in order. And now we have to just change our orbit a little bit so that it intersects the space station orbit. For that we travel to our periapsis and burn prograde. No, that's not prograde. That's prograde. So let's raise our apoapsis to 91 kilometers. And here I'm trying to understand if our orbits really intersect or if we overshot, but it's kinda hard to see. So I decided to just do some orbits and see if our closest approach changes, and it does. In a couple of orbits we will be on very close approach to our target. And here we go. Our approach is less than 4 kilometers. So it's time to kill our lateral velocity and start the docking maneuver. Velocity is almost killed. We're now just moving at 0.3, 0.2 meters per second. Now we just have to find the target on the nav ball and do the burn towards it. Yeah, this might take some time because 3 kilometers is a big distance for such low speeds. So we get approximately 15 meters per second. and we'll turn in retrograde to make sure that we can kill this velocity when time comes, like right now. And we're continuing the same procedure, slowly changing our closest approach to first 200 meters. And using our RCS to kill the velocity instead of the engines. But RCS isn't powerful enough, so we use our engines a little bit too. And we're continuing our slow approach to the station core. (230 meters). 200. And we are almost there. So let's bring our crafts approximately to 50 meters, and then let's align them properly so that we can dock. Using the RCS, we're going to kill our velocity, and now we're going to change to another craft. And here the disaster strikes. I forgot to turn off the docking mode on the space station, so it kind of started to run away from the fuel station, and we have to fix it. Alright, looks like everything is more or less in order, so we are going to orient our space station facing north. And now we're going to use our refueling module to close the gap and to finally dock. So let's set our target to one of the docking ports. Let's set the control from the other docking port where you have it on the refueling station. And let's start this slow ballet of tons of steel. This docking maneuver is a little bit harder than the one we used before, because instead of docking to inline port, we are docking from the side. And this is not as easy, because we can't just orient things in the same way and expect them to dock by simply approaching each other. We have to align with the specific part on the space station, and then let the docking parts do their job. So we're using very tiny puffs of RCS fuel to get us to the proper alignment. And it looks like that space station is rotating a little bit, and that makes it a bit harder to properly align. But we can overcome this challenge. Here we are. Docking parts are starting to magnetically attach, and we are docked. And ooh! As soon as we dock, our SAS module tries to overcorrect for something, and the whole station starts to spin around and wobble uncontrollably. It's not really nice, so I think I'm going to cheat a little bit and use the time warp, which arrests all the movement. And now I'm just going to try to align it properly and make sure that it stays its way. In the end, we have a proper space station with electricity generation, a massive fuel tanks, and 4 free docking ports, 3 of which are for small crafts, and 1 is a big one. And the big one is probably going to be used for refueling vehicles, and small ones will be used to connect smaller crafts, like our SSTO. And it is that time when I have to say thank you all for watching. Remember to like, dislike, and comment this video in the section below. Tomorrow we are going to launch our SSTO mission to swap the personnel on the space station, and who knows what else. Maybe we can use SSTO to get to the moon or Minmus. Once again, thank you all for watching. My name is Darlock, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye!